Hello and welcome to the show. It is April 8th, 2022. Today we'll be talking about Camber Energy, stock symbol CEI. Let me start by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. So, in the last couple of videos, I had described a company called Camber Energy, and I said keep an eye on these guys. They might be doing something. So this is a detailed video on what Camber Energy is, why I'm keeping an eye on them. I happen to own some, and why I think they might be going somewhere. So if we look at the price just last week, we see that the price is, has dropped a little bit. It's gone sideways to downwards. It's ended the week at around 76 cents a share or so. If we look at it on the daily, we see that there are some clear trading directions or directionality of trading here. And that indicates that something's going on there. If we look at it on a yearly basis, we see some quite really interesting patterns. We see that it's down for the most part from a year ago or so. We see this interesting directional line here where where the price went from almost $5, dropped significantly down all the way down to under 50 cents a share, right? And then we also see these two interesting surges in price, right? Where it went from under 40 cents a share all the way up to almost $5, where it went from, under 50 cents a share all the way up to about almost $2 or so. Why are these things happening? So let's start by looking at the price increases and see what's going on with that. The first one took place under large amounts of volume too. So we see a massive volume increase there. At that time, we have a fairly new CEO now. He's taken over from the last CEO. His name's Doris. He outlined a plan for Camber Energy and Viking Energy to merge, right, to form a new company. And he looked like he's making progress. Looks like he's doing quite well. The second time that Camber Energy started taking off is when the price of oil went to about $130 per barrel. Okay, as we know, Camber Energy has a lot of oil and gas assets in Texas and Louisiana, and so as a result, with oil being at $130 a share, the oil and gas assets are proving to be, very profitable. And also that merger that was talked about earlier, there were some SEC filings that needed to be done in order for that merger to happen. And it looked like James Doris was making a lot of progress in that. It looks like that's going to be done fairly soon. So that's a possible reason for the price going up significantly. But then again, we see that there was two large trend lines where the price was going down. Why is that? Let's look at this large downward slope in price. Fortunately, we know why it went down. Thanks to Twitter, Kerrisdale Capital actually just announced that they were short Camber Energy. This was a short attack, and this short attack was going on for quite some time, right? So they are anti-Camber Energy. We can see from the date and time that they announced this. They announced this on October 5th. If you look, this happened, that's exactly when the price started dropping significantly in price. There's some rumors that Kerrisdale Capital also had some put options there, so they made a fair amount of money by shorting the stock. So at the price peak, Kerrisdale Capital initiated a short position, and then they published their short report. They plummeted the price down to 88 cents. They continued the short attack over time, all the way up until about March. And that's when oil hit $125 plus a barrel. And people started noticing that, hey, look, there's a lot of oil here. These guys could be making some money. What do we know about Kerrisdale? Well, we know I did some research, and the only thing I could really find is that their founder, Sahm Andragi, was arrested for DUI and cocaine charges in the Hamptons. I did some other searching and found that Seeking Alpha says there you have a 45% success rate, and their average return is like negative 17% or so. Interesting. But even with that poor rate of return, they did manage to destroy a lot of value in Camber Energy stock price, right? They pushed that stock price all the way down to under 50 cents. Quite a lot. Now, when we see where Camber Energy is trading, it turns out most of their trading takes place not on lit exchanges, but in dark pools. That's quite interesting, because most of their trading volume seems to be happening in off exchanges. Here we see 71%, 77%, 69%, 72%, 74%. All of these, the majority of these trades are happening in dark pools. They're not happening on lit exchanges, right? So something's going on there. Something's odd, to say the least. Anyway, after Kerrisdale Capital released their short report as to why Camber Energy was a terrible stock and why you should not own it, and why they're going to go bankrupt, one of Camber's partners, ESG Clean Energy, they released a report on Kerrisdale Capital. And they responded to the short report, basically saying it's a load of bunkum. It's it's a load. These guys really don't know what they're talking about. They have no scientists, because they disparaged also ESG's clean energy technology, and ESG has got patents for their technology, and they license their technology, right? So, yeah. So what exactly is Camber Energy, right? I mean, I talked about the stock price and all that, but what do they actually do? What do they own, right? What's going on? As far as I know, this is Camber Energy. Camber Energy owns a 70% stake in Viking Energy, let's say, right? And Viking Energy has everything else, right? They've got an IP license with ESG Clean Energy, where they've got 100% exclusive Canadian use for their clean energy system, right? And the ESG clean energy system is fabulous. I'll go into that in detail. But Viking also has a bunch of these other subsidiaries, right? They've got their own gas resources, Simpson Maxwell, etc. So Viking has, for instance, the oil and gas resources, right? This is Petrodome, the Mid-Con drilling, and the oil and gas resources in Kansas. So they're located all over the place, Louisiana and Texas. So they've got oil and gas there. ESG Clean Energy, they do carbon capture. They actually create clean energy. They have got a clean energy system. It's based upon a reverse Brayton cycle. They do carbon capture. You get distilled or deionized water out of it. You also get useful byproducts like urea, NH4, ammonia, NH3. You also get ethanol and methanol out of this. So their clean energy system is doing a lot. You get energy plus a bunch of useful byproducts. Okay. They also recently have a new renewable diesel plant that they purchased in Reno, Nevada, 100% owned. Okay, this was from Rise Renewables, and they developed and financed this 3,500 barrel per day renewable diesel facility, and they sold it to Camber Energy, right? This at a time when now, as we know, with the price of oil being quite high, the price of diesel fuel is quite high, this could pay off quite well. They also have Simpson Maxwell. Simpson Maxwell does industrial power generation, right? They also do maintenance contracts for this power generation stuff. And they do it across Canada and the US. They're like an industrial power generation type firm. So Camber has a lot of stuff. They got a lot of different pieces, right? This is just what was on their corporate structure from the last presentation or so that they did. But since that time, they've acquired an electric transmission and Open-Conductor detection system, right? So what this thing does is it'll detect open conductors, right? So if you've got a power line and suddenly, for some reason, there's a break in that power line, this will detect it, and it will prevent arcing. Arcing is the electrical energy that goes across when it's not supposed to, and that arcing creates a plasma. The plasma is very intense and hot, and that creates forest fires. So this is an anti-fire detection system, right, for electrical power grids. It's pretty cool. They also recently, via Simpson Maxwell, they got a they got a medical and biohazard waste treatment system called Ozone. And this just happened fairly recently, and so they've added to their portfolio of useful stuff. So it's a lot of stuff. Again, it's hard to nail down what they are exactly. But fortunately, there was a guy with a Twitter handle TME for Try Me Events, and he pinned a tweet and he actually broke it down for us. It's pretty cool. This is what he said. Okay, he said, if you take the clean energy, the Simpson Maxwell, the Reno biodiesel, the Basilar Electric, which is the power line fault detection system, the oil and gas, and the biomedical waste treatment system, and all that, you stick it into a spreadsheet. Camber should be worth, just on what it's got today, about $4.14. And it's selling for something like, 76 cents right now? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only, right? So anyway, he says it should be worth, just based on what they're doing right now, $4.14. But if you factor in, right, the fact that if you remove the short price suppression that's going on right now, it could go significantly higher, right? It could hit easily $26 per share is the way he looks at it, right? If you look at standard multiples of 5x, 8x, this thing could be worth a lot more than what it's currently trading for. So there's a big upside here, okay? It's not too bad. I mean, it's a pretty cool deal is the way I look at it. So thanks to TME. Big shout out there. Try Me Events. Awesome. Thanks for putting this spreadsheet together. It really helps. Okay. TME also came up with this nice little tweet. He said, you can't ignore this. It looks like, larger institutions are starting to recognize that Camber is worth a lot more than what it's selling for. And they seem to be adding to their position and increasing their position in terms of Camber Energy significantly. So that's pretty cool. So it could be starting to get noticed. So, and it looks like they could be getting some additional media attention soon, right? I mean, we recently saw this Yahoo Finance / Investor Place news article about them. Because of clean energy and the technology that they are running with, it looks like they could be a path to clean energy. And clean energy is hot right now. People want to have clean energy, right? The price of oil is very expensive. Trying to get clean energy would be great. Trying to get oil would be great as well, too. So they're also getting some news because of Benzinga. Benzinga is having a best stock bracket of 2022 competition, and Camber Energy, along with Tesla, is in the final round for the championship. Okay, they were in the semifinals. Camber Energy was in semifinals. Tesla was in semifinals. Tesla was competing against Apple in the semis, and it beat out Apple. Okay, 65% of people voted for Tesla versus Apple, and Camber got 95% of the people voting for Camber instead of mRNA, which is so there you go. They both look pretty strong contenders. Just because they're in the championship round right now, it'll be interesting to see, right? They're going to get news there. These are all the stocks that are in the Benzinga stock market bracketing that they went through. So on the left-hand side, they were bracketing electric vehicles and tech. On the right-hand side, they were bracketing healthcare versus Wall Street bets, right? And in the end, in the semifinals, You had Tesla and Apple from the electric vehicles and tech side. And from the healthcare and Wall Street bet side, you had mRNA and Camber Energy. And so now they're in the finals. I don't know who won yet. It'll probably be out soon, but it should be interesting. They'll get some media attention from this anyway, and who knows what that will bring. So in the short term, where do I see Camber headed? Well, in the short term, they recently disclosed some communications they got from the New York Stock Exchange. It's regarding some filing that they had to do, right? So they made a request to file some delayed reports, and the New York Stock Exchange said yes, you can delay your filing until May 20th of 2022, right? So the New York Stock Exchange said, hey, if you don't get your filings up to date, we got to delist you because, it's just, you got to file, dude. What's going on here? Well, the reason that they weren't filing is not because they didn't want to file. They were trying to file, right? There's a CEO update about it here. And I will just play this.
And the status of the outstanding filings. Now, the difference, and it's an important difference between today, what I'm going to share, and what I've shared in previous updates, is that we finally received necessary feedback to help the company complete the outstanding filings. Before we were handcuffed, we were never purposely refraining from filing anything. It's the number one priority in the entire organization to get the filings current. But we could not move forward. The auditor would not allow us to proceed with any filings until we got feedback on a couple of accounting issues or accounting items. And we got that feedback. It took months and months to get it. For whatever reason, I'm not sure, but in any case, we finally got it, so we have certainty. So now we have to just update the filings, and there's more than just a 10K. There's historical filings that have to be updated, but we know exactly what we have to do. The accounting team's working on it, and so it's not a matter if it's getting done. It's just when. And so as we're sitting here today, it's a totally different environment, and 100% confident it is getting done. We're actually doing the work. We're not just sitting and waiting, as was the case previously. So, estimated time frame, realistically, between the 15th and the 22nd of April, I believe is a realistic time frame to get everything done and up to date. Again, it's more than just one document that has to be done. There are multiple, and including some at the Viking level as well, given some of the dealings between Camber and Viking. So good, we have certainty now. It's just a matter of doing the work and following the appropriate accounting practices and audit procedures. And we've got a great team doing it. And again, we're cleaning up the past. These are legacy issues that we were dealing with. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but they fucked up and we're cleaning it up, which is fine. It's getting done. In the meantime, as I've always emphasized, that we've never stopped doing business. And again, just to highlight some of the deals that have actually closed, this is not prospective stuff. This is actually closed, and all of it has been closed when we're still dealing with outstanding filing situation. So I don't like to toot my own horn, but imagine what we can do when we put the legacy accounting stuff behind us. So we closed on the license agreement for the patented carbon capture technology. We closed on the acquisition of the majority interest in Simpson Maxwell, and right now we're working with the Simpson Maxwell team on, among other things, helping with the expansion into Eastern Canada. We closed on the joint venture involving the technology for the medical waste disposal system, and you'll remember from previous updates that prior to getting involved in this joint venture, we made sure that Simpson Maxwell got approved as an authorized vendor in a National Hospital Association over the UK to facilitate the sale of the first units. So we're in good shape there. We're working on the initial sales efforts. And then we closed most recently on acquiring a 51% interest in the entities that have the intellectual property rights to this Open-Conductor detection technologies, where identifying breaks and power lines and transmission lines, and to be able to terminate the power immediately, to help with overall grid hardening initiatives, and to help reduce the risk of incendiary events. Extremely important global problem. So we're in innovative, ready for market technologies, leading edge with significant upside and no downside. Because you'll remember that on these deals, the joint venture partners took stock of Viking, right? This joint venture partner took stock of Viking. ESG, most of the consideration there, they took stock of Viking. So again, it demonstrates alignment that people not only believe in the applicable technology, but they believe in the company's overall vision. And our objective is to become a leader in key industry sectors with exposure to a lot of upside, but not a lot of downside, right? There's no debt here. There's no debt here. Other than an operating line of credit, like there's no a small operating line of credit. There's no debt here, and obviously we don't have any debt here. So we've been focusing on strengthening the balance sheet, improving the outlook, positioning ourselves for the future, and again, once we complete the legacy filings, we'll be able to devote even more time and attention to existing initiatives and as well as proposed transactions that we're looking at. So overall, we're a few weeks away now, but again, we have certainty. We know exactly what has to be done. We're not just sitting on our hands waiting to get clarity. We have the clarity, which is great. And so we're looking forward to getting that work done and moving forward here. And if I get any more clarity on a specific date, I'll let you know. But again, it's a much different position than we were just a couple of weeks ago, which is.
So that concludes the CEO. Basically, they expect their filings to be done between April 15th to 22. That's a month before their deadline. The plan for Camber Energy is to clean up the paperwork with the SEC. After that, they can announce their merger, which will require a shareholder vote. Then, of course, do the vote and then do the merger, right? And at that point, you'll have a brand new company with a new CUSIP. Then the Viking and CEI shares will be retired. New shares will be issued, and we can expect the stock to do quite well after that. Or at least that's the plan for Camber Energy. And that's the update. That's what's been going on with Camber Energy, and that's it. So thanks for watching. Let me end by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Goodbye.